In 2019, the Kentucky Chamber continued to expand its role as a major player in the halls of the Capitol, as well as across the state, with increased efforts to improve the lives of all Kentuckians. The business community saw cleanup of many key issues during the 2019 legislative session, with the passage of laws like restoring arbitration agreements between employers and employees, changes to the panel that handles teacher termination, tax fixes important to businesses, updates to energy policies, and more.
On the issues that they were involved in, I think they were very effective. I have seen a growth in the Chamber in the last few years about their ability to be advocates for their issues and an increased awareness among their members about the necessity of being those advocates.
The Chamber had a great year during the short session. Again, Senator Stiver's arbitration bill and Representative Pratt's project labor agreement bill, those are really great steps forward for the business community. And look, I'm going to continue to advocate with the business community to eliminate these artificial barriers to free enterprise so that job makers can continue to grow and locate here in Kentucky. And I think the Chamber should be very proud of its advocacy efforts during the short session. Taking the longer view, I think the last 3 years have been really good for the Chamber. And I think the Chamber team has done a really excellent job advocating. I like the tone that the team takes. I like the data-driven approach that it takes. I like the fact that the Chamber communicates not just during the legislative session, but during the interim to try to build support and educate not only its members, but also members of the General Assembly, because when those two come together, that's when we have successful pro-business legislation.
They help me as a legislator understand issues. So if I have questions about issues, sometimes I go to them and they provide the good, bad, and the ugly, and that I think advances policy. Without the Chamber, for instance, we would not have accomplished restoring arbitration in employer and employee contracts in Kentucky. Without the Chamber being behind it, it would not have occurred, and so that's a major victory. You know, tax reform, which is a significant issue in Kentucky right now, the Chamber is front and center, and so the Chamber is well represented and they're well respected and have quite a bit of influence, as it ought to in Frankfort.
Along with the legislative victories seen by the Chamber in 2019, the organization also released an update to its strategic plan for Kentucky centered around 4 pillars that frame the Chamber's vision for a more prosperous Kentucky and progress for the Commonwealth. With this strategic plan, the Kentucky Chamber has seen tremendous growth in programs and initiatives to tackle statewide issues, including a workforce shortage, the opioid crisis, and more.
In the past year, the Workforce Center has grown from 3 staff members to 9. Under the leadership and direction of our Board of Advisors, the Workforce Center has greatly been able to expand the way that we can support businesses as they grow the workforce they need. Whether that's through our talent pipeline management system, where we're supporting hundreds of employers, building talent based on what their needs are, or looking at the addiction epidemic across the state and the role that employers play to help our workforce recover.
A select group of the state's top education and business leaders from key industry sectors produced a long-term strategy called Striving to be Top Tier for Talent, which will serve as a roadmap for improving education and workforce systems for the coming decade.
This can be the biggest change for the state of Kentucky in this area since Kira so many years ago. I hope that the governmental bodies really take this to heart and sit down and really discuss what are the things that need to happen to allow the practices to go forward.
The Kentucky Chamber continuously works to provide its members with aggressive advocacy and overall make Kentucky a better place to do business. Our Kentucky Chamber members play a key role in pushing our state forward.
Businesses understand that during the legislative sessions, where a lot of business leaders don't have time to keep up with all the moving parts, and it is a dynamic process, the state chamber kind of fills that gap and been filling that public arena to make sure that we have alignment of all the businesses across the Commonwealth. So if you go back and look at the track record of this state chamber, and for the membership fees that we pay and what has been delivered by the team and the staff and Dave Axton's leadership, it's a great value for the dollars.